For the past couple of months, there is a mode in Battlefield 2042 that I've been neglecting, and that was for a reason. Although I've been playing Portal on the side a fair bit, something wasn't quite there for me, and that was rectified recently by the addition of persistent servers. See, before, if I found a fun game mode, I would play it for a couple rounds, maybe for an hour, leave, and when I went to search for it again, it would be gone. Because the user who had put it up had left, had turned their console off, or turned their game off, gone on something else, and the server disappeared with them. But with the addition of persistent servers, you can put up a server, and as long as somebody's in it, within a span of 7 days of it being put up, it'll stay there. All you've got to have is one person playing that server in that 7-day period, and you're sorted. You've got a persistent server. And this is for all Battle Pass owners, so I don't have to pay any additional cost because I've already paid it with my Gold Edition. But what impact has this actually had on my gameplay experience, and what have I tried out that I haven't really been playing too much over the past couple of months because of the addition? Well, let me take you through some modes that I've been playing. Some normal, some slightly less normal. First off, I've been playing a lot more of 1942. I've even managed to unlock a few of the weapons in Portal in 1942 just by playing on persistent servers that are running 1942. And it's just been great to get back to these maps in soldiers that fit them and feel like I'm kind of back in Battlefield 5 again, just with gunplay that feels slightly more familiar to 2042. And while Battle of the Bulge and LLMAin do have their problems, it's just really cool to see the proper factions fighting on these maps against each other. And being a part of that is a big refresher from All Out Warfare. For a more difficult experience, I wouldn't say realistic because hardcore is not realistic at all, but for a more, well, hardcore experience, I jumped into some hardcore 1942 with no HUD, no indicators, and faster ballistics. And playing Rush on that, I mean, it was fairly easy as a sniper to pick people off, but it was fun for half an hour, and if I want to jump back in, there are always servers running this at the moment. Speaking of a hardcore no HUD experience, I've jumped back into my own Tarkov game mode along with some other Tarkov servers that have been running, and it's been a lot of fun. It's slower paced, it makes you use your sound to navigate, and if you've tried my server that's currently being hosted on this, I've popped on sometimes and seen full lobbies throughout the last couple of weeks. Thank you if you've tried it out, it really does mean the world to go into the game and see people playing it. Another one I've been playing is Zombies, where you either play as a zombie trying to kill players, or as players trying to kill zombies, and if you die, you turn into a zombie, like classic Halo Infection. And this just has been a blast. If the melee combat was improved in 2042, it'd be even better, but as it stands, it's a fun little way to kill time. Now, while this mode is great, there's actually a mode coming soon in a similar vein to this that I've had a sneak preview of, and I was incredibly impressed with loads of mechanics. I can't wait to show it off to you guys. Unfortunately, I can't say much else at the moment, but just keep an eye on this space. Going back to something more normal, I've been playing some Bad Company 2. Now, I've been playing this on traditional Bad Company 2 maps, and also on other maps that if Bad Company 2 was in rotation on normal Portal DICE servers, you wouldn't get to play because they only run Arica Harbor and Valparaiso. With community servers, they run LLMAin, they run Battle of the Bulge, they run 2042 maps, and let you play on those with Bad Company 2 factions. One plus side of this is that vehicles like the BMD can be used and seen in newer maps and older maps alike. And I wouldn't really get to try out these vehicles if I was just playing All Out Warfare. And they just look really cool. I also get to experience rolling around a destroyed town in a Humvee with a teammate on the top turret, blasting at enemies as we drive through it. And that is just such a cool experience, especially in first person, to look up and see them turning around, scanning for enemies, and then taking them out, and you being the designated driver. A very similar experience to this is Battlefield 3 servers. Going on Nostra Canal, starting on the US side, getting in those rib boats and landing on the shores with your teammates in the boat with you is just so cool. That aircraft carrier spawn is something that I don't really get to experience that often because Battlefield 3 maps usually aren't on rotation, especially in Conquest, on main servers. But here they are, and it's just great to try out naval combat because All Out Warfare, unfortunately, doesn't really have it. But here it is in Battlefield 3. And you know what's better than Battlefield 3? It's Battlefield 3 versus 1942. Now, I thought that this would be completely imbalanced and stupid, but with an almost full lobby, it was actually a lot more balanced than I thought it would be. And seeing a mode like this that was advertised in the trailers but I never really got to try out, it's just really cool to be able to experience it. And finally, out of these modes that I've tried in the past couple of weeks, is Spec Ops Breakthrough. Now, you might be a little confused if you're familiar with Portal because Breakthrough isn't in Portal officially. It's not something you can modify, it's not something you can host, but some absolute wizards have completely bypassed that and basically made Conquest that locks you into certain objectives for you to take and then roll over to the next one. In this particular instance, it was a modified version of that, where you'd have a team of, I think, 8 people against waves of AI, and you'd fight to overtake different objectives. break through the whole map until you get to the end. And it was a really fun experience. Some great teamwork going on because you have a smaller team against larger numbers, and I thoroughly recommend it. And whoever's cracked the code on Conquest and somehow make it breakthrough, just good job, because that is nuts. Now, it's all well and good when these are on persistent servers, but if you want to host them yourself, you might be wondering, how the hell do I know what experience code to put in? Now, there's a whole Battlefield Portal library on the internet, on the website, and a link in the description below, so go and have a look, scour those pages, see if there are any modes that take your fancy, and host them, because we really need more people hosting these good servers. And that brings me on to our only downside, and it's not a downside of persistent servers, it's just a downside in Portal in general. And that is that yes, you will still get XP grinding servers. I'm not sure what DICE is doing to combat these, but I'd like to see those efforts increase because they really do clog up the server browser and kind of ruin the experience of people wanting to find servers that are running unique modes. And they're just a cheap way to farm through the battle pass and farm XP. Another thing is that most of the experiences you saw today aren't full XP experiences. That doesn't really bother me too much, but a lot of players will look on the server browser, see say the 1942 Conquest mode, and go, I want to play that. But then they see the restricted XP symbol, and they say no, because they want that full XP. And that is really unfortunate, because the reason that server is restricted is because, more likely than not, they've been creative and messed with some code, or they've put bots in to fill when players aren't there, and it restricts XP for the whole server. And that really does stop people from filling up the servers. And I wish something could be done about that. I hope something's done about that, because it's the only real thing hindering these really creative modes being brought up to the spotlight, because it does punish creativity in the logic editor. Once you mess with that, any XP is gone, and that will deter some players. And that might be slightly evident with the poll I put out yesterday asking you guys whether or not persistent servers had changed your experience at all, and it was split directly down the middle, 50-50. Half of you said that it had shifted your experience in a more positive way, and half of you said that you hadn't really bothered with it. And maybe this XP restriction has something to play with that. Anyway, I just thought it was interesting to include this stat for you guys to see. This stat will be changing all the time though, because more people will be voting, so if you want to check out that poll, it's in the community section of my channel. But overall, the change to persistent servers has made it so much easier to find servers that I really want to play in the game, and I do recommend you have a look when you're next on to see if there's anything that takes your fancy. Anyway, thank you for listening to this little rant about the Portal update after these last few weeks, how I feel about it, and I hope this has enlightened you at least a little bit on some of the Portal servers that are going on. Thank you for watching. Hope to see you again.